There you go.
It's going to be a good one.
There you are. What's up, everybody?
Hello, everyone.
So, welcome to Grease and Grace. My name's Jordan.
My name is Kim. Jordan is currently eating lunch.
I'm going to try not to eat this in the microphone because you're going to be like, is he eating right now? Yeah. Hello.
I mean, hey, I've had a couple of times where I've had
a banana. You had a full-blown banana.
So I've been like, you're doing good if you don't have a giant piece of fruit.
A couple of weeks ago, you went all in on a banana.
I did. It was a really big bite. I've eaten quite a few things.
I'm loving this, though. You brought me a poke bowl.
Poke.
From a place up in South Bend,
yes,
Indiana.
Let me tell you about this trip. It was the best day driving to South Bend.
What do you mean?
Well, it was Mishawaka.
It can be hard.
Technically, it can be hard because there's a certain specific straight of road that you can hit a stoplight every 3 feet. It feels like.
I know what you're talking about.
I hit all green lights, both on the way up and on the way back. Jordan, it's gonna be a good day.
Here's the deal. I know exactly what you're talking about because if you hit all the red lights,
it's infuriating. Why do we need to have that many stoplights?
Man, you're like, who are we stopping for?
I know.
Like, for real. Life's not that busy around here. I know.
It's Mishawaka.
Yeah, what is happening right now? And if you're from around here, you better be nodding your head.
Yeah.
Because you're
It needs to go down in the record that I hit to and from. It's all green.
That's like you should buy a lottery ticket.
I was like, God be shining his light down on this travel. He does anytime, but
yeah, right. Pray for traveling mercies, and the Lord's like, you're welcome. You never give them to me all the other times, but I give you one stoplight and you're good to go. That's so funny.
It was a good good drive.
I was going to tell you last week, Kim, that we are over the 1,500 downloads. So we might have said that before, but yeah, 1,500.
Look at us go.
So if you're listening,
look at you go, listeners.
Yeah, good for you guys. Thanks for punching in. Hey, take a dive in the back catalog if you haven't done so already.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Go swim in the deep end. Learn how to swim.
That's like one of those little kid insults. Have you ever been insulted by a kid?
Oh, it's the worst.
They're sometimes the ones that hurt the most.
They're like, are you slow?
You're like, oh, that hurts. It's the most honest cut, and it's like, oh, that really hurt.
I got a great story about that. I'll tell you off air, but no, I can't tell you on air because people be like, fine. What just happened?
That's fine. Anyways, that lunch is good.
Yeah, so thank you. I appreciate it. I owe you money. Anyway. Every week we take on a new topic. So we dive into the greasy and graceful aspects of this life that we live in. Sometimes current events, pop culture. We talked about politics. We've talked about just a bunch of stuff.
The ocean.
It always comes back to the stupid ocean.
It somehow keeps creeping its way back in. There was something the other day.
I want to talk about it, but I won't. Go ahead.
The ocean?
Yeah, there was something came up. It's called Ocean Exploration. It's a real company where you can go and you can explore the ocean or whatever. But anyway.
Oh, well, I saw something the other day and I was like, the stupid ocean episode. It did something to my soul, I guess.
It always pops up. And every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I talked about that once for an hour.
My brother shared me. Did I tell you about that?
Shared me? How did your brother share? Who did you share you with?
Shared.
You might want to think about that. If your brother's sharing you, hey, have you met Kim?
I mean, I do have two brothers, so he was like, here, have a sister to you.
Enjoy the sibling that I also have. Anyway, go ahead.
There's a hotel that's underwater.
Is there?
Real life, yeah. I don't remember where it's at, Australia or something. Oh. But I think that you can, I think it's just a restaurant. The restaurant portion of the hotel, I might be lying, is underwater.
That's super fun.
So.
Anyway. So here's what we do. We spend usually a little over half talking about the greasy side of things, and basically that's just the things that drive us nuts.
Yeah.
Like, and then we hit about 2 or 3 things so we feel better about ourselves.
So you feel better about it.
So you're like, I didn't listen to an hour of people complaining. So you're like driving in your car, you're like, man, you get out, you think, they're really upset with this world. No, we don't want you to think about that. We do have some graceful aspects of
Life
it.
is good.
Yes. Sit back, relax. Get a hold of yourself. So today, we always say that Kim's cooking up a topic, and today's topic is...
marriage.
Oh, why are we rolling solo in this?
So, okay,
man.
here was my idea, all right? So, y'all...
Didn't happen.
Y'all, what?
No. You were going to have Josh and...
Oh, yeah, Josh and Bethany.
on,
yeah, so, okay.
Didn't happen.
I think that we're going to need some convincing for our spouses.
Yeah, because one, they don't think anybody listens to us. So that's the first problem. They're like, wait a second. You do what?
Okay, here's my idea. And I'm saying this on... Can I say on air?
100%.
This is on air. We're on air. If we can get Bethany and Josh to Grease and Grace marriage, like maybe we could be here, but like they're greasing and Grace in marriage with us because it's gonna be
like a part 2 would be with them.
Part 2 with them greasing and gracing marriage.
If it ever happens.
Oh,
I don't know if it.
I know. There's another one that I've been trying to set up, but that was a weird. Listen, we got summer. We got topics out until at least spring break now.
100%.
So we're good.
Here's the funny thing. When we first started this, first of all, we had no idea what we were doing. So like the first 4 episodes are just us like
I think
gibbering.
it's the first 8.
Yeah. So we should probably take those down. But anyway, the rough starts are good. Yeah, we found our groove. But then we were like, we should do this, and then what happened was now we just keep like something will happen in life, and I'm like, we'll talk about that for an hour.
Yeah, yep. So, but we need convincing. So we need you
to go talk to Bethany and Josh. Be like, hey,
neither of them will be thrilled about this.
So I talked to Josh. We had a meeting Monday night. Josh serves on our leadership team here at the church, and he looked at me legitimately, and he said it nice, and I know what he said. But if it was not him, I would have felt like it was like mean. He's like, "You talk to my wife more than I do," and I was like, "You don't talk in general." So like,
I know. I was gonna say,
pretty sure your wife talks at you. But
there's like random few days with Josh where like homeboy talks so much.
Does he really?
Yeah. But they come out of absolutely nowhere, and like I'm never prepared. So on those days, he's like 1,700 words in, and I'm like staring at the wall, like, who is this?
Why are you talking so much? Stop it.
Like there are some specific topics that he can get onto, and I'm like, what? Which is his dad as well. Yeah. Like his dad is. He's a talkative person. His dad.
I don't think I've ever met his dad.
Probably not. He lives in Kansas.
Huh.
Absolutely love him.
I've never even seen him.
He will send you a picture.
I've seen his sister. His sister and him are same person. I saw a sister the other day. I was like, whoa, they look like the same person.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You don't think so?
I don't think they look anything alike.
Oh, I do. 100%.
At all.
Anyway.
Anyways, his
personal
dad.
Conversation. Thanks for joining us.
Anyways, his dad, like, I think one of the first times that I like spent time with just his dad, I don't know where Josh was at. I don't know where anybody was at, but I was downstairs and his dad was like doing something with like a fishing net. His dad is really big into fishing, super knowledgeable about it. And he was like, well, Kim, do you need help? Do you want to help me like get the net set up? And I was like, sure, let's do this.
Yeah.
And so the whole time I could not tell you what that man said. I couldn't tell you one word. He might have talked about fish. I don't know. But we talked to me for like 25 minutes and it was just him and me.
Oh, my word.
And they're downstairs. I think like we watched like fishing or hunting or something like that on the TV and just
that's so
we
funny.
just worked on a fishing net together.
Okay. Since we're talking about marriage, here's the deal. Kim and I are going to take the approach of biblical marriage just because we're going to have to throw that out there because so when we define this, we're talking about a man and a woman coming together, and we are not going down the political train with this. we're not going to debate it either.
No.
So we're talking about the biblical institution called marriage between a man and a woman.
And how glorious it is.
And if you want to fight me on that definition, bring it on. All right. But that is not what we're talking about. So we're not talking about marriage in regards to define it like the cultural dialogue that's going on in our society, and what is marriage and what is not marriage. Marriage is biblically a man and a woman coming together, united as one, leaving their father and mother, and forming a family unit. Okay?
Yeah.
So there you go. How'd I define that?
You did it.
Okay.
Great job.
So
it's like
that,
you had practice or something. It's like you've married people or something. That's so weird.
That is weird in the pastoral world, because they're like, oh, didn't you marry them? And I'm like, I did their wedding.
I
officiated their wedding. Yes. Also did the pre-marriage counseling, but I did not marry them.
There really should be like a better word for that.
Oh, yeah. If there's like...
but it'd be weird if you said, did you join?
Yeah. Like,
they're now conjoined.
Yeah. Like, I now pronounce you, Pastor Jordan, and... Nope. No, we don't do that. And that is called Utah.
Yeah. Hey. Oh, man.
Again, we're under this umbrella.
We did it.
Canceled. I'm out. Cancel yourself.
We lost somebody. I don't know.
Somebody just.
Do we have anybody listening from
hard
Utah?
pass. People are like, wait, well, you can make it past 10 minutes? All right. I didn't know there was anything past the 10-minute mark. Okay. Anyways, Kimberly, what is
Jordan?
What is your Greece? Like, start. You're gonna take a drink too.
So first and foremost, we should probably state that we have experienced.
There's so many disclaimers before we even get rolling in this topic. Yeah, fire away. What do you got?
Well, we have experienced being married to two
How long have you been married
people.
to Josh?
12 years.
Wow.
12. Is that right? 12 years.
Crazy.
We're getting to the point where I don't believe that it's been that long. But also, it's really hard to remember that because we dated for 6 years before that.
You're creeping into the territory where you've been together with your spouse longer than you've been at home. You're not there yet, but you're creeping into it.
Yeah, we're really close to that. And so we dated for 6 years before that. And then we were friends for 2 years before that.
Okay.
So I'm 20 years in with this kid at this point. Yeah. So how long have you and Bethany
So I was doing the math while you were talking, because
I'm surprised that I did math that fast. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, that's cool. Like, good for you. I'm proud of you. Whatever it takes. 18. We're in our 18th year.
Look at that.
In our 19th year. Sorry. In our 19th year.
For sure.
2006, 2024 minus 2006 is 18.
Yes. Because that's how long Josh and I have dated.
Yeah. So I moved out at 18. So I am in I
moved out at 19.
I am in with Bethany longer than I've lived with my parents.
Did you move in? Did you have a moment where you weren't married and living by yourself or living with roommates?
Oh yeah. So I high school, graduated high school, left, went to a technical school, lived on my own there in an apartment, and then went to I left there and went to an actual 4-year college.
Oh, okay.
And then lived in the dorms. And then in between the summers, you went from living at home, living in an apartment, wherever's going to be the best.
Wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Okay. I was
just need a bed. That's it.
So Josh went from living with his parents straight to being married.
Whoa.
Yeah. He's never known life.
So he went from his mom to you.
He did.
Well, that's interesting.
He did. There's been a lot of growth that has happened. It's all because of me. Thank you very much. I will take my medal. No,
listen, buddy.
No, it's interesting. Our marriage.
Wait, so you guys have been married for 12 years.
Yeah.
How old is Miles? You had to do the math. You're
he's 7. He's about to be 8 though.
Okay. And how old's Owen?
6.
See, because your kids are still young to me.
They are.
I have a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old, so I'm moving out of this really little. I'm learning that really fast too.
So this morning I had a friend who she has 3 kids that she needed me to take to the school today. Mm-hmm. They all were at our house this morning, and it was the quietest my house has ever been. 14, maybe 13.
Okay, so they're all over 10.
9.
Oh, it's a way different.
Totally different.
Way different age group.
Totally different. Yeah. I did not know what to do with myself because I'm still in the young kid stage where like they wake up and are like fighting with like their Halloween things, and that's the life that I'm at. These kids came over and I was like,
they're like, "Can you take me to school, please?"
So tell me about life.
Yeah.
I don't know how to talk to teenagers yet.
I'm curious. What's your grease? Like,
okay, so
fire away. And yes, this will be part 1. Well, who knows what we're gonna do part 2? But
it'll be a while. It'll be a while. Okay, so my first grease, I do feel like there's always gonna need to be disclaimers. Okay, so
our spouses, like the one episode they choose to listen to, they're like, "Wait, what'd you talk about?"
No, what my first grease, Josh very much knows this about me. I am somebody who can thrive on my own.
Okay.
And so
you're saying you don't need him?
So no, because like we have very much like intertwined our life, but like
wherever you're going, like I have to go. So I'm like formulating what my thoughts are as you talk. So yeah, go ahead.
But I am somebody who does not like need to be around my spouse. Like I don't need to be around Josh all of the time. Yeah. I can live life without seeing him. This also needs to be stated that we were in a long distance relationship for 3 years prior to Skype.
Yeah.
So I learned just to kind of like live life.
I love that you said prior to Skype because that dates it.
It really does. Yeah. And that is such a game changer in like long distance relationships when you have like a camera and all. 100%. We didn't have that. Yeah. And so it was like phone calls, and I don't know if anybody has caught on yet, but Josh doesn't say a whole lot. So phone conversations.
How you doing, hon? I miss you. You miss me too? Yeah.
So there are times in our marriage where like one of the funny, he actually said it to me last night. We were in Lake Michigan long ago, and I don't know why he was so close to me, and I just turned to him and I go, "Why are you so close to me?"
You gotta
and
move.
He was like, "Because I'm your husband." And so there's a lot of times where like I am like doing I'm by myself kind of a mood, and he's like there, and I'm like, "You're always around."
You're like, "Why are you around right now?" That's so funny.
That's my first grease, is like, while I very much love him, and like when he is not there.
Have you had to work on that with him? Like, since he likes that, like, is that like, I mean, is he? That would be like his grace that like I get to be next to Kim, and that's like your grace.
I don't know.
You're gonna have to go home and have a conversation.
I get to be next to Kim.
Yeah. Like he's like, this is the graceful side of things. You're like,
yes, kind of. Like I never like not mind it. How am I saying that? I don't have a problem. I don't mind that he's there, but sometimes I'm like, "You're just always there." Kind of.
Poor guy.
Thing. No, listen, I very much love him.
So what you're saying is that just rubs you like
every once in a while I'm like, I just want, like, I'm somebody who I just want to, like, I'm extroverted until I'm not, and then I have to kind of like be by myself kind of a thing, but like you can't be by yourself when you have kids and a spouse, like that,
especially when the house is small. Like you guys live in a pretty big house now, but like, I mean, apartment living, stuff like that. Like when you walk into the room and the person's always in the room that you want to walk into, it's like, dude.
And like if I'm watching something, a lot of times anytime that I watch something.
Do you feel that way?
I'm like,
out of here.
Stop looking at anything that I'm watching, or like don't comment. Like that is.
I love that you brought that up because I feel that way about life. Like, so the way our office is set up is like.
Your office at home?
Yeah, so I can see, like, it's not like my office at church where like you could come in and see like my screen and all that other stuff. Like I set that up. But our home office,
you're looking
is set up where like I look at the screen and then I'm also looking at the door. So if you walk in, you could just see the back of my screen. It's not that there's anything on my screen that would cause any sort of concern.
Yeah.
It's the sole fact that if you walk around the desk, I will execute you.
Yeah.
Like, why are you back here? And there's some times where like Bethy, like I'll be doing my devotions and she'll like walk around and she's got to get something like out of like our safe or whatever the case is. And I'm like, you could have just asked. And she's like, what? And I'm like, you could just ask. And she's like, why do you have a problem with me being back here? I'm like, I don't know. I can't formulate
this
that.
isn't a you space right now.
I'm here. Like this is where I live. So like I know you live here too, but not here. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Is so true.
Yeah. I don't want your comments. I don't want
like, what are you watching? Why are you watching that?
It's
how long you been watching that? What's going on?
Yeah, he'll mock something. And I'm like, stop.
Enjoying it? You're enjoying it. And he's like,
I know.
You're like, you just ruined it. You blew the whole thing.
I know.
Yeah. Oh,
or
that's
like
so
if
funny.
we're watching something and then like, he's like, well, that's not ever going to happen in real life. And I'm like, correct. That's why it's a movie, Mr. Wilco.
I was listening to music the other day. This is so fun. This is right in the same vein. So I'm in the kitchen. I'm listening to music or whatever. Bethany looks at me and I'm like, oh no. And she's like, I was like, what? She's like, what did he just say? I'm listening to Christian music. She's like, I was like, I don't know. I just like listen. She's like, I don't agree with that next song. It's like, what? It's like, what? No. Like, I'm listening to that. She's like, Jordan, that's doctrinally incorrect. And I was like, I don't know if it is or not because I wasn't listening to what. Like,
I wasn't judging the song.
We're not judging the song.
It was just on.
She's like, next. I was like,
yeah.
Next. Like, you next.
It's like that stuff, right? It's that stuff where I'm like, sometimes I just want to like exist without your commentary. That's my first.
To be fair, I'm the same way with the kids. Like the girls walk behind my desk sometimes and they're like, hey, Dad. And I'm like, what are you doing on my left? Like, why are you back here?
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And I'm like,
what do you mean?
Did you, when you went to the principal's office last week, did you walk around his desk? Like, no, you did not.
That's so true. See, my desk butts up next to the wall, so like nobody can walk behind it. But there have been a couple times.
I just don't like when people are over my shoulder.
There have been a couple times. So like I'll have late in the day calls at work, and a lot of times it's like the Google Meet. You know what I'm talking about?
Does Josh do that too? When somebody calls, he's like, "Who's that?"
No. No,
because our house 101. You can't talk to anybody. Everybody in the house is super curious. My whole family is curious. Like, who's on the phone? And you're like,
no,
Bill Clinton. I don't know. Like, why do you care? They're like, hey. The phone will go off, and you're like texting. Who are you texting? What do you mean?
Oh,
What do you mean? Who am I texting? Like,
no.
Grandpa.
No, that is not a question that happens in our house.
Oh, you would not live in our house. That happens all the time.
Because I'd start making names up. Like,
everybody in our house is super curious. It's always been that way. 18 years of living life.
That's
like
crazy.
And maybe it's because we're in the ministry. We need to be so transparent, you know? Like, so it happens all the time because there's just no secrets in our house, you know, whatever. So it is not uncommon. Like, Bethany will come downstairs. I'm on the phone. And she's like, who are you talking to?
To be fair, like the only people that call me are like my mom and dad. So
is there a crisis? Do I need to know? And then you hang up the phone. She's like, "What do you want? What they want?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?"
That was my lunch order.
What do you mean? What do they want? They want to. I don't know. Like, I'll tell them to call you.
Yeah, that's my like. It's not like a bad always there. It's just like.
You're just there.
They're just there. Like you share the same space.
Yeah.
And I very much like I lived by myself with my, like I did not. I
don't think that's a greasy thing. I just think that's a middle line. And like it's like
that's a greasy thing if you are somebody who has to kind of work on it a little bit because I'm very much like I don't. Oh no.
Chopstick on the floor.
Chopstick on the floor.
Anyway.
Yeah, like that would be my first grace is like
keep going. These are good. We're gonna start a marital fight between Kim and Josh on this.
No, Josh very much knows.
That's a funny thing. Like I think people might be listening to this and thinking to themselves like, man, like hold on just a second. So Kim and Josh and Bethany and myself, super like they would know.
Yes.
Like anything we say, they would be like, oh yeah. Like Bethany, if she listens to this, she'd be like, yeah, I definitely am asking who's texted you. Like she wouldn't even like blink an eye.
Yeah, like I said, Josh just yesterday made fun of me for the time in Lake Michigan when I was like, why are you so close to me?
And he's like, that was a dumb thing.
He just he knows that like I don't need
so funny.
everybody around me all the time. In fact, like, and to the like commentating thing.
Yeah.
So chores, which is another like greasy
here we go.
thing. So we have it split up. Actually, it's not a grease point.
Bethany calls them. There's pink jobs and blue jobs in the house, and there's things that she never does and she will never do, and then there's things that like she does that I wouldn't do.
I don't have colors for them. I just am
maybe
like,
you should start.
So we have it split up a little bit differently, I think, than a lot of households.
Okay.
Because I do not like putting things away. Like I don't like resetting things. So like I love laundry. Actually, like it's something.
It doesn't bother you.
I can wash. I can dry. I can fold. I will never in my life put clothes away. Ever. I hate putting clothes away. In fact,
about your own?
For 2 weeks, I've had next to my bed clothes that I have moved up on top of my bed to put into the closet.
You don't put your own clothes away?
No, I do. But it takes me like 3 weeks.
That's ridiculous. You should see a counselor.
So this is like a very known fact. Like Josh knows this about me. And
does it drive him nuts? Is it his grease?
Yeah.
I bet it is.
But we have it to a point because he does not like folding. I'm like, hey, I'm a fold. I'll fold all day, baby. Like, let me do it. Put it away.
So why doesn't... Okay, so just hear me out. Why doesn't he put the clothes away?
He does.
And you fold them?
He does.
He puts your clothes away?
No.
Why don't you let him put your clothes away?
I've gotten to a point where I'm like, we would have it's not like it's dirty because like most of my clothes are folded anyways. It's all of my hang up stuff. And I just like literally that's all I don't want to do is hang up my stuff.
Let him do it.
And he hasn't ever offered, but I might actually.
There's no offer like there. Like tell him to do it.
Because like there's like negotiation points of like, so anyways, to the commenting thing, I had said, I don't like putting any of the clothes away. You can put all the clothes away because you don't like to fold them.
All right, here's the deal with women. You guys are crazy.
But
go ahead. I'll let you finish, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to tell you.
I get to listen to anything that I want. I get to watch anything that I want without a comment. And he was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like,
"You know what I mean."
I said, "If I'm listening to Legally Blonde and that's on my phone, don't comment on it. Let me watch my girly movie." And fold the clothes.
I love that you watch girly movies because, like,
I'm not girly.
I would not peg that at all.
Oh, I love rom-coms. Love rom-coms.
So here's the deal.
Okay.
I don't understand this about women. You can maybe like enlighten me on this. Like, why is it that a guy?
My sister-in-law is like having a heyday. She's like, "Yes, tell me about my brother."
Yeah. Why is it that a woman would be like, "Man, it's cold in here," and a guy will go get her a blanket, like, but it doesn't work the other way around. And you know what I'm talking about? Like you'd be like, "Oh man, like I'm thirsty," and all of a sudden, like water appears, you know, and it's like. But if I do that, Bethany'd be like, "Get your own water. What's wrong with you?"
I don't know if I make those comments at home.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I think every woman does.
I don't know if
There's
I do.
probably some woman out there that I don't
because
make those
I
comments.
know
okay.
that if Josh, he's good. I try really hard, but there's always like a sigh where I'm like,
"Oh, there it is. That's the tell." Yep.
And I'll go and I'm like, "I'll get it for you."
Bethany has to be really careful because if she says something, I hear it and then I do it. So she'll be like, "Man, I didn't get to clean the upstairs today or whatever. I'll just go do it."
I'm going to try that out.
That's probably not going to work. Probably not. No. Good luck. You need to look at him because most men are like this because a lot of women are like, "I can't believe he does that." I'm like, "Give him I keep saying your name
because you're looking at
I'm like,
me.
right. Yeah. Bethany and I have gotten to the point where, like, Bethany will tell people, she'll say, like, "No, you have to look at him in the eye and tell him, like, put my clothes away." Like,
oh yeah,
and then say it again.
See, it hasn't been like a point of contention for me. Like, it's just me who doesn't like to put the clothes away. Like, and so if I I'm very, so there is in real life marriages, because ours aren't real life.
I was just going to say, like, when you did the vows, did you fill out any paperwork?
So in a
that
lot
ring
of,
looks real. I'm just saying. But anyway.
In a lot of marriages, I feel like chores are honestly like a point of contention.
A greasy thing.
Yes, it is very much a greasy thing. I have done a lot of work within myself because
it is so hard for me not to kick into like marriage counseling and like because we're not in that boat, but that's what I do. Like I help people through that stuff. So anyway, go ahead.
I've done a lot of work because for the longest time I was like, why won't he do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
And then
we just came back from a marriage conference too. Like both of us. Weren't you there? Oh, you
no,
guys didn't go, did you?
No,
did you? No.
Yeah. And I got to a point where I think it was a study that I was doing, and it helped me kind of realize like those are because you want them done, not because he wants them done. If you want him to get those things done, then you, Kim, have to tell Josh to get those things done.
Yeah.
And so we still, like every once in a while, I will get with our house, like when it comes to chores, with our house, if the sink has dishes in it, then our entire house is like a disaster.
Oh, really? Yeah.
We don't have a ton of counter space, and I cook a lot of times at home, and so I get really like with dishes.
Yeah.
His, once again, we have it set up where I'm happy to put the dishes in the dishwasher. I'm happy to rinse them off.
You just don't want to put them away.
Don't want to put them away.
You have a putting away problem.
I do. I 100%. Like this is not a new thing.
Yeah,
I don't like to put trash bags in trash cans.
What?
It drives me crazy. Like
you just don't like to do it?
No. I don't.
So
it's
funny.
the weirdest thing. So Josh will put all of the dishes away, but then if we have dishes in the sink,
It doesn't bother him?
what?
To do that, to like put the dishes away. It doesn't bother him at all.
No, because he doesn't like to wash them.
Oh, okay.
And so like we have this like
it works.
Very and so like he'll put the dishes away, but then we get to a point sometimes where like he hasn't put the dishes away, and so then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna let this sit for a second, and then like another day goes by and I'm like, okay,
you gonna put those dishes away, buddy?
And so then it'll be like day 3 and I'm like, hey,
Dishes I need to put away.
look at that. Do you see those?
Does he just not see it, or is he just busy?
I don't know. I don't know.
I have not taken time to inquire of why my spouse is not doing what I'm asking him to do. You should have definitely come to the marriage conference.
He genuinely doesn't think about it. Like that's not his thing. So, and I understand that about him.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm not somebody who's gonna nag him.
Yeah.
But like, if it's like day 3, I'll be like,
hey,
so about those dishes.
We're having a conversation in the kitchen. I should probably point at that.
Or like, there have been a couple weekends where like we've just been busy, and or like he's had to do some work here. Like we've just been busy. We haven't been home. Yeah. But we had 3 weeks where like the piles of clean clothes I just kept adding to, and he wasn't putting them away. And so he did something, and I was like, so you're putting the laundry away this week? Right?
Hello.
Are you doing that? Because so like I'm very transparent.
How long did it take you to get to that point? Years.
It took a long time for me to calmly just like, it's almost like I will very calmly be like, so those clothes.
Are you at the point? Are you at the point in your marriage where, how do I word this? You're like past fighting.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
We had. If we have fights anymore, it's like stupid fights.
Yeah.
Like
it's like a disagreement.
We went to a comedy show and it turned into, because of directions.
Yeah.
We were in Michigan, and he does not drive very well in cities.
Okay.
And he was like, I'll drive home. And I was like, are you sure about that?
He's like, I don't think that's a good idea.
And he was like, no, I got this.
I'll put the car away.
There was construction, and we turned onto a road that I think was technically closed.
Yeah.
And his anxiety just through the roof.
Yeah.
And that's where,
which is funny because he drives to work every day, like considerable distances.
But he's not one to do well with like quick change. Like it ruffles his feathers a lot. And so then I'm like the one who's like, it's fine. Like, it's fine. Just keep driving. And then he gets like, he's boiled up. And so like that's the kind of fights
that's so
that
funny.
we have. But
they're tiffs. I call them tiffs.
Yeah, like it's not like we are hooting and hollering.
It's super funny
long
to watch like young couples have an argument because I'm like, this is not like 5 years from now, this isn't going to be a big deal.
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah.
oh, you know what she did? I'm like, just wait.
What's your dumbest argument?
Dumbest argument
that you've ever had?
Beth and I's first argument was over predestination.
Oh, that's well.
like the very first one we've ever had. Like,
I'm saying stupid argument.
Yeah, we talk theology all the time. But like stupid arguments, I don't know.
Okay, I'll tell you mine while you're thinking.
Yeah. Think.
So, you guys are gonna learn so much about Josh this episode.
Yeah, I don't even have to talk. I'm good. I'm dodging like 8 bullets right now.
So Josh does not like the microwave at all, and
there's a group of people that are like that.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I'm eating this whole podcast, so if you guys are hearing me, like, I put down a poke bowl so far. I'm eating a right. You want a Rice Krispie treat? You want some of this?
I'm good.
Man, anyway, go ahead.
So Josh, like, he doesn't like microwaves. He will not microwave anything.
There are people that don't like use them at all.
Yeah,
don't have them.
I don't know. I don't understand.
There's a lot of people that think like they're like evil.
Yeah, Josh isn't in that camp.
I'm not in a camp. I'm fine. You're telling me that you can heat something up in a minute? Throw that thing in the microwave.
Like, I don't know why. I don't know. But anyways, so I was cooking dinner, and that is like our biggest area where like if a fight's gonna happen, then it's gonna be while I'm making dinner, because I'm very much like, don't go in the kitchen while I'm making dinner.
Which makes sense. You're a chef.
Yeah, and so like we found that out. That's a trigger point for me.
Found that out the hard way.
So anyways, this was when he didn't know, nor did I. And so I was making dinner. It was a bigger dinner for everybody because this was a point where we were living with my parents for a second.
Yikes.
And he went, while I was cooking dinner, to put water on the stove for ramen, which is two things that just angers me, because
what, water on the stove?
He was in my space.
Oh,
in the kitchen.
Proximity.
Yeah, he was in my space.
Yeah.
I have a space issue, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm just discovering that.
I don't like to put things back, and I don't like people in my space.
He was in my space.
Kim and I are sitting 10 feet apart right now, minimum.
But like when I have like something that I'm doing, like don't get in the way of that. Don't interrupt that, because I can lose my focus so easily. Mm-hmm. And so like don't interrupt that. So he had gotten into like where I was cooking, but then he eats all the time.
He does.
He eats so much. And like I was frustrated because not only was he in my space, but he was eating as I was preparing dinner. And yeah, like don't eat. It's still like he'll eat right before we have dinner, and I'm like, why
I do it
are
all
you
the time.
eating? Why are you eating? And he's like, because I'm hungry. And I'm like, the dinner's ready in like 15 minutes.
Nope, still gotta eat.
And he'll eat like a full-on meal.
I resonate with that guy.
Yeah. So my family, we grew up with like 3 meals a day. Mm-hmm. So like when it's time for dinner, you wait to eat. If you're hungry, then you just wait, and then you eat the dinner that I have made for you.
I call it pre-dinner.
So there were 2 points that he just like.
So both of those tipping point, yeah.
And I lost my sweet, ever loving mind. This was 2 years into our marriage. Like we were still.
That's the worst too.
I lost my mind, and to this day, every once in a while, when I'm like, when I'm just kind of like, I want to fight, kind of a thing. Like I'm not ever like I don't ever start fights, but what's the word? There's a word for it, like argumentative, I guess.
Yeah. Combative.
Yes. When I'm combative, that's the word. On my combative days, Josh will be like, don't use the back burner. Because that was our whole argument. And I kid you not, like, I was so mad at him for using the back burner.
And it's so ridiculous, right? Like, it's just the dumbest thing ever. You're like, this is so stupid. I when we were first married, like, I would get like that all the time. I'd have like out of body experience where I'd like be over myself, and I'm watching, I'm like, Jordan, you should stop talking right now. Like, now's a good time to shut up. And I'd be like, nah, I'm going to keep going.
We're going to keep going.
Let's just go full moron in this.
Have you guys had arguments like that, like a stupid argument?
Oh yeah, like dozens of them. I mean, I used to get so, and God's been really good, taking it away. I used to be so angry at like just. It's funny because in our house, so it's funny what's perceived. So from working in the police department and also having the opportunity to work in various ministry situations, I've seen multiple people in backgrounds. So like when we say like we fight, like we do not fight like normal people fight. Like, and I don't want to say they're normal people because this is unhealthy fighting. So like I've been around situations where like people are screaming and full blown. So when my family is like, "You're yelling," I'm like, "No." They're like, every so often, Ben, they'll be like, "Why did you raise your voice?" And I'm like, "What?" like I didn't even come close to raising my voice. Like it's not even in a realm of raising my voice. And I think one time we were having like this conversation, and I did, like, I was like, "You want me to raise my voice?" And I went, and she like went full turtle mode, just like, "Oh no!" Like,
does she shell up?
Oh, big time.
Oh man, if Josh raises, I'm a fight. Like,
really?
Oh yeah, I'll get louder.
Oh no, like Bethany will.
So I have to actively.
I'm so good with my words, like because of like what I do and just like the craft, and she knows it, so she won't go into that ring. Yeah. Like she's like, she'll look at me sometimes and be like, "You'll bury me here," with your words, and words hurt to her, so they're very like you have to like be very careful and selective, and I've learned that. Where this kind of probably moves into the graceful thing, where it is grace, like that. I think that's the best part of marriage is like. You can make mistakes. It's the only realm where you can make a mistake and that person is still in proximity. Yeah. And it's like, oh, like I messed up or whatever the case is. But it is super funny where you get in an argument and you're still like with that person and you're like walking by them in the hallway, or whatever. And you're like going around them. Like you're like, "Oh, you live here too? Okay. Well, I just need to get around you to get like my book, It's like, 'cause I'm too
but
prideful.
I'm still mad at you.
Yeah. Or like, there's been so many times where Bethany and I've had an argument, and like then we'll look at each other, and it's like just full blown laughter. Like, what are we fighting about? Like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, we've had a couple arguments where I'm like, we're agreeing. Yeah. Why are we?
We're in the same boat right now. Like, we both feel the same way. There's been so many times where like I've looked at Bethany and I'm like, "Why? Can we stop? Can we just stop arguing right now? Like, let's just stop this." And she'll look at me and be like, "Huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, huh?" Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I once there was my old boss. She once said, I don't know if I could do this. She once said that when her and her husband argue, and they had been married for like 40 years.
Long time. Yeah.
She's like, "If we start fighting, then we start skipping." And I was like, "What? I'm sorry. What'd you just say?"
People have little ways to get out of it.
Yeah, she's like, "We start skipping because you can't have a conversation or you can't have an argument and skip." And
so
I was like,
funny.
"Well, that's true." I don't know if like in the heat of an argument, if I could be like, "Let's go skipping through this." Like,
yeah, like that's like, there's so many other things that I could say, but I'm not gonna bring it in. But yeah, like that's the best part is. You get in these situations where you're never in with normal human beings.
Yeah, it's
like,
very true.
Ever. Like, and then there's so many, like, this is probably another graceful thing, but like there's so many like hidden like jokes like between like people, and there's so many things with, as curious as my whole entire family is, there's still like things that it's an inside joke, and it's like you just know. Yeah. And it's super fun when you're in public and like nobody has any idea like what you're talking about. So if you're not married, you don't get to experience that.
Yeah, you don't get to experience that at all.
Do you have graceful things?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it is like that he is always there. Like while it's
the grace can be the grace, for sure. Like, and the grace can be the grace.
He is always there. And like we were friends before we dated. Yeah. And so like we have a history of just like laughing. Yeah. And so like he and I are truly friends.
It is weird though, right? Like one human being out of our last episode we were talking about with politics, like all these people voted. I mean, we're at millions of people. It's super weird that like this is your human.
Yeah.
Like of all these people, the roulette wheel like turned and it was like you.
Yes.
I pick you.
Yeah. No, I know.
I look at Bethany all the time like, are you sure you made a good choice? Like, you can't go back on this, but like, I don't know if this was the right thing to do. Like, because you're young.
Yeah.
Majority of the time people get like,
yeah.
like, oh man, it's crazy.
Yeah, yes, that's my grace, is that he is always there. And like we are friends. We were friends before we were boyfriend, girlfriend. We were friends. And so we have that like foundation of just being able to like laugh with each other. And it's like a genuine laugh, not just like
not artificial.
Yeah. Like it's like a genuine, we get each other's comedy, like, or sense of humor.
Yeah.
It matches very, very nicely. And so
his sense of humor is fantastic.
When you get it out, you don't get it all the time.
Oh, he'll say stuff sometimes where he has like this very like low key like sense of humor, and I'm like, oh my word, that like, and then you don't know whether to laugh or not because he's like, and you're like, what? Why'd you give me 2? Like, I need 10. Like, that's like, I need a Kim laugh in that moment. Like, this is over the top, thing or whatever.
Which that could honestly be a grace, because we often marry the person opposite.
You do
of ourselves, because there is a compliment.
Yeah, you're not competing against each other. You complete one another.
But when you are living with the polar opposite of you,
yeah,
and like figuring that out is rough.
Mm-hmm.
Figuring out like how they complement, because like you don't know.
Yeah,
it's just you figure it out, and sometimes
you just
I'm
do.
like,
yeah, yeah, and like, and there's ebbs and flows. So like, there's pre-kids.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like somebody said this a long time ago. They're like, the secret to a successful marriage outside of Jesus is to fall in love with that person over and over again. So like, and because there's seasons in your life. So like you chose to love this person before kids, and it was great. And then you had kids, and now you're choosing to love this person. Or maybe there's a job change, or maybe there was like a crisis or something happened, now you're choosing to love this person again, in the same way. And it is really interesting because like, you're kind of like version 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like I'm at like version 4 of Bethany. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, she was telling me the other day, she's like, something about hormones. I don't know how it came up or something like that. And it's like, She's like being even more hormonal, and I was like, I don't know about that version, like I'm not sure. Or like, you'll be talking to somebody, they're like, oh, my wife's going through menopause right now, and you're like, she's just always hot, and I'm like, how's that version going? Like, do you love that person, or like what? Yeah, what's that look like?
Yeah, I've seen. It's interesting because we're high school sweethearts, so cute, but
fantastic,
but. Seeing like our lives, like you look back and like seeing Kim and Josh.
Oh yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine if you were able to like go back and talk to them?
Yeah, I'm like Kim and Josh at 18, Kim and Josh at 23, Kim and Josh at 27, Kim and Josh at 32. Like all these like little stages and like the different versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
As individuals and as couples, because there's been a lot of growth for both of us.
And majority of the time, like there's one person in the relationship that changes like physically wise a lot, and the other person kind of stays the same. Like I look at Bethany sometimes, I'm like, like, are you good with this? Like I've changed a lot. She's like, yeah, you kind of like mix it up, like that's kind of how you roll. You look at pictures of her back in the day, like she looks like the same person.
She does look the exact.
I'm like, you haven't like changed at all. Like you look great,
does.
like physically wise, like, and I mean, we grow up maturity internally wise, but there's some stuff where I'm like, did you see who you're standing next to? This is
Josh
rough.
Used to have long hair.
Oh, fantastic. It's curly too, wasn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
He actually has really pretty hair. Like
pretty hair.
He does. I've told him that before. I'm like, if you were to just grow out your hair. Oh.
When's the last time his hair was long? I don't think I've ever seen him with long hair.
20?
I was going to say that's a long time ago.
That was almost 2 decades ago.
I was going to say that was a long time ago.
Yeah, he doesn't grow his hair long.
We definitely need to have this conversation with them present, because I would be very curious. Like what?
I already know what the greases are. I know what Josh would be
what
like.
What would his big thing
I've been
say?
waiting for this. His grease would be. I don't know what I want to say.
You want to wait? Give it time.
No. his grease would be that I am much messier than him. So like having to like take on the other person's weaknesses, if you will. That is probably the biggest bother that he has of me, because I just don't put things back. And it drives him crazy because I know where I put things, and so he knows not to move them. Because like I have a picture memory of where I put one thing, and so he can't move it.
Bethany used to do it all the time. She used to move stuff all the time on me.
Yeah,
like, where'd this go? And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "She's like, it's right there." I'm like, "You can't.
Don't move it.
You can't move things
because then I'm more susceptible to losing it because it wasn't in the place like it." So
I knew where that was at, and you moved it on me.
And so that would be one of Josh's greases. Another grease of his, specifically to me, would be I have so much energy.
You do have a lot of energy.
I have so much energy.
Though, so I can relate to that.
He will come home from work, and I'm like jamming in the kitchen.
What do you want to do, man?
Like, I just got home from work, and I'm like, yeah, me too. He's like, can we just chill?
High capacity leader over here. Like, I'm ready to go. You want to play a game? What do you want to do?
He's like, you are too much. Stop.
Oh, but he probably loves it at the same time.
Probably.
Yeah, it's super hard.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that like in marriage, I don't know, this is a kind of a middle ground thing, because like the thing that drives you the most crazy is also the thing that you love so much.
Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking about that. Like, it's hard to have, like, with this episode, it's hard to say like this is the grease side and this is the grace side, because even in the things that we're talking about, like I go back and forth and I'm like, wait, hold on, but that's kind of a graceful thing. But then I'm thinking about it and I'm like, oh yeah, but that's kind of greasy too. Like, but that's marriage 101.
It is.
It all depends on the day, what's happening, like where we're at in cycles, like all that stuff is like a factor, and it's kind of like there's no lights up on a board that kind of show you like, are we at green, yellow, red? Like where are we living at?
Yeah.
You just wake up every day thinking, okay, here we go again.
But I mean, I think a good foundation, of course, is God.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like putting God before anything, and then at least be friends.
Like, I could give you all the successful things, but for sure, I think it's so funny. I think, man, I wish you were at that marriage conference, because there were some good things that came out of it. But I think you have to. There's a letter that's to a church in Revelation, and basically Jesus just says like, don't forget your first love.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it all comes back to. It's like there are times where I look at Bethany and I'm like, hey, you're still my first love.
Yeah.
You know, like that girl in college that I saw and fell in love with, like, you're still it. And you have to tell yourself that every single day.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you want to hear about?
How long have you all been married to your spouse?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I want to know, what is your dumb argument? I want to know the stupid argument that you had. What are some grease?
See, what's funny is I wish we do need to get them in here, because I would want them to answer that, because I'm curious if like what I remember is what she remembers, because I'm sure they're different.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, like what's that one argument? She'd be like, "Oh, you remember?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I forgot." Because some things we forget about, right?
Oh man, Josh, that is our top. That one, and we had an argument over pizza.
Oh,
and we agreed on that one. Like, we walked out mad at each other, and we agreed.
You're like, okay, yeah.
And I don't even like pizza. I don't know why.
Anything else?
I don't know. You didn't say much.
I didn't. I kind of dodged a bullet on this whole episode, which is fantastic.
So
maybe I should bring more food to the table when we talk. What would I like to hear about? Yeah, like, is the greasy and the graceful, could you really separate the two of them?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I think if you were being honest and transparent, you could not separate the two of them. Like, even if you looked at your spouse and you're like, hey, man, this is something that like just drives me crazy. If that was absent in your life, though, you probably miss it a lot.
Absolutely.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, your little quirks and things like that, like, there are just things that Bethany does where I'm like, and that's what makes you you. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. So I would be curious, like, what people's are.
Yeah.
What their grease and grace.
Yeah,
is
because
in
I'm in the same boat of like you can't really like you
it's hard to
can
pin those
grease
down.
and grace it, but they're one and the same.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So, tell me how long you've been married to your spouse.
That's a good one too.
Give me a good.
Maybe what's your favorite part? Like, what's your
favorite part of being married?
Yeah.
That we're like,
Your
I
friends.
love being friends.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend that we've grown up together.
Yeah.
So like we have the same reference points that we can both, like we've shared those,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's always my like,
I'd
that's
be in
my
the same boat.
absolute favorite is that we are just friends. And like at the end of the day, even if like our kids are driving us crazy, our jobs are driving us crazy, like we can sit down and have a conversation where we're both laughing and not always. And even if we aren't laughing, like if we're having like just a good conversation, it's good to just have like conversation and it's a comfortable conversation where like,
this is my person.
this is, I can, he ain't going nowhere. So this is what he's stuck with.
All right, you guys tell us. Rate, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. You can reach out to us on social media or through our website at greaseandgracepod.com, or you can email us at greaseandgracepod@gmail.com.
I post on Mondays and Thursdays, by the way, on Facebook.
Oh, there we go.
So anytime that you're looking out for somewhere to post, Mondays and Thursdays is where you can comment.
The best time actually to comment is right after you hear this episode. Like just go over there and drop it on social media, and we'll hit you up. So until next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.